This video will discuss how to run a two-way within subjects design in SPSS. Within subjects designs are designs where each participant is tested under multiple conditions. So each level of your independent variable, where your independent variable is what establishes the groups that are being compared when you're doing mean comparisons in ANOVA. But within subjects designs is that every single participant is in every single level of that independent variable. And this is what the equation looks like for this type of model. Very similar to the between subjects designs, but slightly different based on the variances that are being used. These within subjects designs are also called correlated error models, but the one that you would most likely hear is repeated measures designs, or this is can also sometimes be called longitudinal ANOVA. So this goes by several different names. But regardless of the name, the biggest point is that every participant is in every level of your independent variables. So each participant is in each group. So now your ANOVA is more like a paired sample t-test than an independent sample t-test. So for the between subjects designs, you have independent groups where the participants in each group are only in one group. Whereas with now the within subjects design, it's like a paired sample t-test where we use paired sample t-test for like a pre-test, post-test comparison. And this is where every participant is in both groups. It's both in the pretest and in the post-test. But now we have 3 or more of these groups to be able to do this within subjects designs ANOVA. And so the subjects are providing multiple values for the dependent variable. And so for each level of the independent variable, each participant will have a value for the dependent variable. So the means of the dependent variable are still what's being compared across the groups, just as in any other ANOVA design. But now you have each participant is at every level of the independent variable. And so this repetition can be over time, and most often we see it over time. So it's 3 or more time points where each participant has a value of the dependent variable at each of those time points, but it could also be over treatments where it's like a leveling or a stacking of treatments, or it could be something where it's the increase of sessions, so the number of sessions, but you are measuring the dependent variable at each session. So then session 1 dependent variable value could be compared to session 3 dependent value and look and see if there's mean differences across all these different treatment levels. So you would still go to this repeated measures option in SPSS to be able to perform this two-way ANOVA. And the difference is that when you define your different factors, you will put 2 of them in here. So you'll have 2 factors, put the name, put the number of levels they have, and then once they are both added, then you can define. And then you will see how it's set up here, where you will now have the combinations of those factors be all listed here. So now it's the first number in any one of these groups is the level of time, and the second number is the level of the factor. And So now you just have all of these within subjects variables listed here. And so that represents every single cell or group that is being compared. And so then you would still get your test of sphericity, and where you can use greenhouse geyser, but you also have lower bound if you need it, or Heinfeld if you need that one as well. And again, because this is an assumption, you want this to not be statistically significant. So you want this value to be greater than 0.05, because then that lets you know that there is equality across these groups. Then this is what you get for your results, where now you have all of your factors here in place. And so this is your factor A, and here's your factor B, and the error is going to be your factor A times your subjects, and then this error is your factor B times your subjects. And then you have here is your interaction between A and B. And at the bottom here is the interaction between all three. So your two factors and your subjects. And so there's where all of your effects would be, and you'd be able to look at your results. You also would get where you get this plot where you could look at the marginal means for each one of the, so this is factor B, plotted with the factor A and the marginal estimated means. So this gives you the trend lines for each one of your levels of your second factor across your levels of your first factor. And you can do comparisons for these two-way ANOVAs. If you have pairwise comparisons, you can do compare means and use the pair sample t-test to be able to set up these comparisons from your two-way within subjects design. And you would just need to set it up in a way where you have your different groups that are being compared to each other. So if this is like the pre-test for one particular group of your second factor compared to your post-test of that same level for the second factor, but now post-test. So you have to set up all of these comparisons in this way. And then in your results, you can be able to see these pairings. Now this is best done as planned contrasts or planned comparisons, and you need to make sure that you do apply some sort of type 1 error control to ensure that you're not increasing the probability of a type 1 error too much here. So because of all these additional contrasts that are being done after you're doing a two-way within subjects design, you will need to apply some type of type 1 error control.